Why, hello there.
Hello.
Uh, Welcome back. It's me
Yes, I can see that.
talking post workout, pre delicious Coors Light.
You know, if you're going to try to form intelligent thoughts, you might not want to do it while drunk. Just a tip. Alright, don't say I didn't warn you.
Mm. And I'm here talking about questions that anti feminists have for feminists? No. 28 Questions for Social Justice Warriors by The Amazing Atheist. Or as I like to call it, 28 loaded questions from the YouTube atheist community / internet Nazi starter pack to people who disagree with them.
Well, hello, I'm Mr. Reality, and today we are looking at a video of a social justice warrior attempting to answer questions, but ending up answering them just like every other social justice warrior ever. What do I mean by that? Well, let's see.
Number 1. Why do you claim to speak for LGBT people, ethnic minorities, and women, but when those people disagree with you, you harass them? I could say the same about, you people. You, that's all you do with people who disagree with you. You just dogpile on them.
However, you do not provide proof of this. I checked in the description of your video and there are no links to anywhere, so you have nothing to back up your statements. I, however, will provide some proof that you dogpile on people who disagree with you. When Christina Hoff Sommers, a feminist, spoke at the University of Massachusetts, she was shouted down by people from the audience and accused of spreading hate speech for bringing up facts. So, where's your evidence of us dogpiling people who disagree with us? I'd like to see it, but you didn't provide any.
So I don't see anyone doing that on our side.
That is because you have blinders on that don't allow you to see anything bad about your own people.
Number 2. Do you realize that your war on language through political correctness has made you bedfellows with true rape culture, aka Islam, the world's most misogynistic ideology? That's very interesting. Now tell me again how you people align yourselves with neo-Nazis and fundamentalist Christians. The same people who believe that women should be in the kitchen.
Where to even begin with this? Well, first off, I myself am a Christian, but to say that just because we share some beliefs doesn't mean that the atheists are aligning themselves with the Christians. And to compare Christianity and Islam is disingenuous. It is true that Christians believe that homosexuality is a sin. That is one of our beliefs. But we are not going around killing homosexuals. Remember the gay bar that got shot up in Florida? That was a Muslim. This has been proven. Give an example of a Christian shooting up a gay bar, and then we can talk.
Meanwhile, these social justice warriors that you go on about actually align themselves with feminist Muslims.
Feminist Muslims? Are you kidding me? You know that according to the Quran, husbands are allowed to beat their wives, right? There is no way that Islam is compatible with what feminism claims to be for.
And Muslims that are pro-LGBT rights.
Those would be Muslims who are not following the teachings of the Quran. The Quran expressly teaches that gays are to be killed. I'm not saying that all Muslims are terrible people. I'm saying that if they follow the teachings of the Quran, they are required to murder people.
Because that's how you get rid of bigotry. By getting rid of bigotry everywhere.
Tell that to the Muslims.
Whew, this is a long one. Number 3. Do you want women to be equal, or do you want them to be a protected class? You can't have both. If you expect society to treat women as equals of men, why don't women have to take responsibility for their own safety? Like Kevin Logan said in his video regarding this, women do take responsibility for their own safety. Some of them carry whistles.
What? What is a whistle going to do?
Some of them, a lot of them go in groups when they go out. When they go out to bars or clubs or something, like they go in groups, and yet this still happens.
Citation needed.
And yet, there's always people out there, such as yourselves, who will make excuses and try to come up with some sort of reason why she got herself into that mess in the first place.
Do you have a problem with trying to prevent rape? Because that's what it sounds like.
So, I mean, like, women do try to take care of their safety. Like, they try to look out for themselves.
Only when they're not doing what feminists tell them to.
And to be a protected class, like, what the does that mean? Like, honestly, what the does protected class mean?
In United States federal anti-discrimination law, a protected class is a characteristic of a person which cannot be targeted for discrimination. That's from a quick Google search. Can you not even be bothered to do any research?
Like, they go to they take the perpetrator to trial. You know, they claim that they were raped, so they go to court over it, and then they lose. Oh, and then magically they weren't sexually assaulted, as if the courts, all they do is judge how truthful an event was, when that's not how it is. The courts just apply the law to a series of events. They don't try to they don't try to make up the actual events that took place. That's not how the courts work. And no one in the criminal justice system would argue that.
I agree. The courts don't try to make up what took place. They try to determine what took place. There's a big difference. And sometimes the courts determine that the person accused is innocent. If the person is determined to be innocent, I don't think that they should be arrested. I don't think that their life should be ruined just because they were accused of something. Seriously.
You'd have to be a moron, or you wouldn't know anything about the criminal justice system to begin with, to think that.
Kind of like yourself.
Number 4. What are you afraid will happen when you leave your safe space? I don't know. What are you afraid will happen when you leave your of men's rights activists and neo-Nazis?
Just because we are anti-lies perpetuated by feminists does not mean that we are men's rights activists or neo-Nazis. Why do you keep throwing around the term neo-Nazi? Do you even know what it means? According to Google, neo-Nazism borrows elements from Nazi doctrine including ultranationalism, racism, ableism, xenophobia, homophobia, anti-Iganism, anti-Semitism, and initiating the Fourth Reich. Holocaust denial is a common feature, as is incorporation of Nazi symbols and admiration of Adolf Hitler. You later in this video say that you actually watch videos of anti-feminists, as you call them, or neo-Nazis, as you also call them, we've seen. And if that is true, how can you possibly say that they are neo-Nazis? Now, I haven't watched all of the people who contribute to this list, but I have watched some, and I have not seen any form of neo-Nazism. Unless, of course, you have a different definition than the one I'm using, in which case, please provide it, because you don't.
I don't know. Who? You tell me. Like, I'm here watching your videos, engaging you people in the comment sections.
It's good to know that you at least don't stay within your own echo chamber. However, most social justice warriors do, and you are the exception to that, not the rule.
I need a
You know, I really don't think the beer is helping you make logical arguments.
Number 5. How can you possibly justify the idea that it's somehow racist to disagree with Black Lives Matter, and yet it's not racist when a black person tweets, "Kill all white people"? They're both racist.
Wow, a social justice warrior who will actually admit that black people can be racist. Well, good for you. I mean, wow, I'll give that one to you. That's actually your first actual real answer.
Moving on. Oh my god. This question's like half the page that I wrote. Like this is all one question.
That's nice. Could you please get on with it?
Who wrote who? I can tell who asked this question just by reading the. Oh yeah, Atheist Rue. Almost every question that Atheist Rue asks is a page. Shorten it. Number 6. Are you aware that the present is not the past? Yeah. I'm not kidding. Oh. Okay, I'll let you carry on.
Who are you talking to? You said you already had it written out and you showed us the written out question. So you should have known that there was more to it. Why what are you doing?
Are you familiar with the concept of linear time? Because you seem incredibly comfortable with traveling back through time to talk about how bad things were for women or black people or whoever. And then by using some form of SJW magic, you then claim or imply that those problems of the past exist today. Are you aware that this trick you're doing is not working? Why do you think that would work? Because it does. It influences policy by looking at the past to work on the future.
But that's the problem. They treat the present like it is the past. They do policies that would have been good a while ago but are not necessary today.
That's how you change policy. You look at the past and present so you can influence the future.
I agree, you should look at the past and the present, but you should not base the policy on only the past. You need to base it on the present. What do we need now, not what did we need 50 years ago that we're going to implement now for some reason.
And
I know, the question went right over your head.
dense. Number 7. Do you really think you can spend your entire life in a state of perpetual emotional immaturity? Do you actually imagine that you'll be able to stretch out your adolescence for your entire existence? Asked by Sargon of Akkad, who's jealous that his sister is a graduate student in gender studies, and he has no job.
Actually, he does have a job, and it's making YouTube videos debunking lies told by social justice warriors.
Like when he started milking MGTOWs back in 2013 or 2013, he basically admitted that he wouldn't be able to pay his bills and pay rent or eat. So, like, come on. You spend your entire day in front of your computer, and you don't even have a day job. So, like, who's trying to stretch out their adolescence for who?
Well, let's see. You have a bed in your background, so I'm going to assume you're recording this in your bedroom. So either you live by yourself and you don't have any other presentable rooms in your house, or you still live with your parents. I'm not entirely sure. I can't really tell, but you're definitely recording this in a bedroom, so I would say it's you are trying to stretch out your adolescence.
So I don't know. Why don't you read a book instead of pretending that you read books?
What in the world? What is that supposed to mean? Why don't you go read a book instead of pretending that you read? When did he say he reads? And when did he say he didn't read? You don't know these people. You don't know what they read. I could say the same to you. Why don't you go read a book instead of pretending that you read? I mean, I have no evidence to show that you don't read, and you have no evidence to show that they don't read.
Number 8. There are 13 more percent women. Trying to do the Cult of Dusty thing. There are 13% more women in college right now than men. So if the whole goal of feminism is equality, shouldn't we have some men-only scholarships in order to equal everything out? Well, there were men-only scholarships offered by A Voice for Men and Milo Yiannopoulos and other who made promises about men-only scholarships that went nowhere. So why don't you give them a call or send them a tweet?
I believe what they are referring to is the fact that there are a large number of scholarships for women provided by the government, but not for men. They're saying that if your goal is for equality, shouldn't the government, not individuals, but the government, provide more men-only scholarships? I've provided some links to articles talking about women-only scholarships in the description of the video.
You can have your men-only scholarships. Like, there's just got to be a organization that'll fund that. No one's funding it, you idiots.
Do you mean no one's funding the men-only scholarships or the women-only scholarships? Because yes, it's true, no one's funding the men-only scholarships, but the government is funding the women-only scholarships, as I just said.
So why don't you do something and raise some money?
Who says that we aren't?
Number 9. If feminism and egalitarianism are both for equal rights, then why does one start with a gendered prefix while the other is entirely gender neutral? Let me drink about this.
As I keep saying, beer will probably not help you think clearly. It does quite the opposite, actually.
Oh yeah, it's because when feminism was a thing, like when it started, is because women were considered a second class than men. They were second to men.
So what you're saying is feminism is only about equality for women, right?
And all of the policies that feminism was able to influence and social justice was able to influence actually had a knock-on effect for men, especially white men, working class white men.
Again, I must say, citation needed.
And egalitarians do nothing except like that's all you do is.
Well, let's see. The definition of egalitarian says, of, relating to, or believing in the principle that all people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunity. So for one thing, you could say that the abolition of slavery was an egalitarian thing, because it definitely was not a feminist thing.
Like this whole thing that you people have is a safe space.
Now that's the pot calling the kettle black. Oh, I'm sorry, is that racist?
It is your safe space to whine about safe spaces.
I would like to see some evidence for this because, well, you don't provide any. At all.
Number 10. What do you hope to gain by bringing back racial segregation? I'm not. I don't want racial segregation.
Well, if you don't, there are certainly some in your party who do. The Huffington Post published an article by a Canadian college student that demanded racial segregation because ethnic minorities deserve safe spaces without white people. That is a clear call for racial segregation.
Moving on. 11. When my granduncle was dropping bombs on London, did your grandparents get out of their bunkers in the morning to protest #NotAllNazis? The Nazis were kind of bad people. They were kind of bad. I'm sorry, but your great granddad or your whoever the your family member who dropped bombs on London was in an army, was in a regime that was pretty objectively evil.
Well, that's the point. Of course, they were terrible people, and the Muslim terrorists are also terrible people. But you're saying hashtag not all Muslims. Yes, that's true, not all Muslims. But Islamic teaching says that they should be doing this.
So yeah, like, you have like Nazi sympathizers in your group now? That's pretty inclusive. That's very inclusive that you would include such Nazis in your group.
Wouldn't you just love for that to be the case? But here we have a case of you not understanding a question. How you misunderstood it, I don't know, but you didn't get it.
Very inclusive. Number 12. Why do you think every cis white male is born racist? Racism is a learned behavior. You answered your own question, numbnuts.
No, he didn't. How is that answering his question? The question was, why do you believe that all white males are born racist? Because racism is something learned. That's not answering the question. What he's saying is it's something learned, not something you're born with. So you believe something that is not true. Another instance of you apparently misunderstanding the question.
Number 13. How can you possibly say that the phrase all lives matter is somehow racist? It sounds like something the Dalai Lama would say. The Dalai Lama. And also, when you're talking about police shooting black people, that's the issue. So they're going around saying Black Lives Matter, like, don't shoot black people, please, don't shoot us. Because we're, like, they're getting stopped and frisked, they're getting carded, they're getting shot, they're getting assaulted. So in that case, you have a group of black people saying, hey, we kind of matter. Could you not kill us, please? Could we live in peace? And could the police possibly help us for once? Instead of just antagonizing us our entire lives.
I have here some statistics that, if we look at, we will find something interesting. First off, the population of the United States. Now, black people make up 12.2% of the population, okay? That's the total percent they make up of the entire population of the United States. Now let's look at FBI crime statistics. Of all the crime committed, 28.4% of it is committed by black people. Now, let's compare it again. 12.2% of the population, 28.4% of crime. This is why black people get shot by cops, because most of the time they are committing a crime. Are there racist cops? No doubt there are. I'm not going to say that it's always 100% justified when a black person is shot by a cop, but I'm saying almost every time it is. That's the majority. The exception is when it's not justified. Also, in 2015, 50% of the victims of fatal police shootings were white, while 26% were black. You know, you could at least edit out the parts of the video where you're sipping your beer instead of wasting our time making us watch it.
Number 14. Would you rather be right or popular? It seems like your primary objective is to score social points and get public validation. You speak publicly in the same way that people write their dating profiles. Stop trying to demonstrate how awesome you are and get real. I would rather be right, because I am.
Well, if you are right, why have you not provided anything to back up the claims that you have made in this video?
And most people that you label as social justice warriors are actually right and less popular than you.
even though the social justice warriors use false statistics and are praised by the media, while anti-social justice warriors are demonized, but use true statistics that you can actually look up and find at reliable sources.
So, like, is this projecting here? Are you projecting how dumb and wrong you are?
No, but you are.
Man. People. Number 15. So a drunk man sleeps with a drunk woman. The woman is incapable of giving consent, but the man is? No, neither is the man. If a man was blackout drunk and a woman had sex with him without his consent, that would be rape. She would be raping him. And same vice versa, for sake.
Oh, an SJW that actually admits men can be raped. I wonder, would the female feminists approve of that? Also, what if they're both drunk? Are they raping each other?
Not that you care. You're just using this as a bludgeon.
Is this more projection I hear? How do you know that we don't care? I personally do care.
Number 16. Is it really easier to spend your life attempting to pacify the world and subdue all around you instead of accepting that you are the person who has to change? So from what I get from this question is, no, we're right and you're wrong. You need to change. We don't have to read.
Why do you keep bringing up reading like we don't read? We're the ones who are using statistics that are verifiable. You are the ones using disproven statistics, such as the wage gap.
So, I could switch that back over to you. I could just tell you you're projecting. Because you're the people who think that, universities are, they're a indoctrination station of SJWism.
That is because a lot of them are requiring that students take courses on social justice and gender studies.
Number 17. When I'm singing along with rap music, is it okay if I say the word nigga? You can say whatever the you want. You can sing along with whatever the you want. It is your free speech.
An SJW that will admit that we have free speech. Okay, well, I'll give that one to you. But unfortunately, a lot of the people in your movement disagree with you about that.
Number 18. How do you reconcile your opinion that gender doesn't matter or even exist with your need to invent new genders each day? I don't know, man. What's with all the attack helicopter memes, am I right? God forbid that someone asks you to call them something and you actually have to do what they say or accept them for who they are.
But you just admitted that we have free speech, which would allow us to not call them that if we so desire. So which is it? Do we have free speech or do we not? Because it can't be both.
In your version of equality, will white men ever have a voice in society? Or will white men always be too privileged to participate in discussion? Kind of like right now when you have any sort of discussion about making a workplace more gender egalitarian. You have people who think that by doing that you're taking away jobs from white men.
Well, if they hire someone who's underqualified instead of someone else who is very qualified and would be better for the job, but oh no, he's a white male, so therefore we shouldn't hire him, then yes, you are taking away jobs from white men.
There's always going to be white men with a voice. I mean, look at you guys. Look at me.
I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to mean.
Number 20. Do you think that the power of censorship that you are so desperately trying to establish now will at no point be used against you? Is that a threat? Are you threatening me?
No, that is not a threat. That is a warning. If you promote censorship, there will be a day when you are censored. He goes on, but it's more of the evasive non-answers, so we're just going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later.